For £104, you get exactly 50 millilitres of this. That works out at £2.08 per milliliter. Now, at that price, this bottle either has to be extraordinary, or it's just an expensive name on a pretty piece of glass. And here's the thing, Sì Parfum is not what most people think it is. The original Sì has millions of fans. This version, the Parfum concentration, is a completely different animal. Darker, richer, more serious. And by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you something about the dry down that almost nobody talks about. Something that completely changed how I feel about this fragrance. Stick around. Giorgio Armani. You already know the name. Fashion, architecture, cinema, the man has built an empire on the idea that elegance doesn't shout, it whispers. And that philosophy runs through every single one of his fragrances. Armani's approach to perfumery has always been about restraint meeting sensuality. It's never maximalist. It never tries too hard. The original Sì launched in 2013 and it was a phenomenon. A modern chypa built around blackcurrant nectar, rose, patchouli, and a woody musk base. It became one of the best-selling women's fragrances of the decade. But Armani didn't stop there. They built an entire Sì franchise, intense, rose signature, passion, each one a different chapter of the same story. The Parfum sits at the pinnacle of that collection. This is the definitive version. The most concentrated, the most considered, the most unapologetically luxurious expression of what Sì was always trying to be. When a house like Armani produces a Parfum concentration, they're not just turning up the volume. They're rethinking the entire composition for a different kind of skin experience. That matters. And it shows. Let's talk about the bottle, because honestly, this is one of the most beautiful flacons in mainstream perfumery. The Sì bottle has become iconic at this point. That curved rectangular shape, almost like a smooth river stone, but upright. Minimal. Architectural. The stopper has a satisfying weight to it, proper solid feel, not plastic pretending to be something else. The glass itself has a slight warmth to it, a blush tone that catches the light beautifully. On a vanity table, on a bathroom shelf, on a dressing table, this bottle looks like it belongs there. It earns its display space. The Parfum version gets a slightly deeper, more jewel-like finish than the original Eau de Parfum. It feels more premium in the hand. The atomizer gives a fine, controlled mist, no sputtering, no waste, just an elegant spray that lands on skin the way it should. The outer box is clean, structured, very Armani. No unnecessary excess. If you were gifting this, you wouldn't need to add anything. The packaging does the work. It communicates exactly what this fragrance costs and exactly who it's for. The opening of Sì Parfum is a declaration. The second it hits your skin, there's this immediate burst of dark, jammy blackcurrant, but it's not sweet in a candy way, it's almost tart, almost winey. There's a richness to it that feels grown up. In a lighter concentration, that blackcurrant can sometimes read as fruity and approachable. In the Parfum? It reads as opulent. Dense. Like the difference between a glass of blackcurrant cordial and a glass of aged Merlot. The projection in those first moments is genuinely impressive. You spray this and it announces itself to the room. Not aggressively, this isn't a beast mode fragrance, but it has presence. Quiet confidence. The kind that makes people look up. What's interesting is that even in the opening, you can already sense what's coming beneath. There's a warmth lurking underneath that fruit that tells you this is going to get interesting. The top notes don't overstay their welcome. They're a teaser. An appetizer for what follows. As the blackcurrant begins to soften, maybe 10-15 minutes in, the rose starts to emerge. Now, I want to be honest with you here because some rose-forward fragrances can veer into territory that feels either too floral and old-fashioned, or too synthetic. This doesn't. The rose in Sì Parfum is warm. Dusky. It's not a freshly cut stem in a vase, it's more like rose absolute, thick and almost honeyed. There's depth to it. And as it unfolds, you start to notice the patchouli beginning to stir underneath. This is where the fragrance shifts from being pleasant to being genuinely compelling. The heart of this composition is where Sì Parfum earns its parfum designation. In an eau de toilette or even a standard eau de parfum, these notes would sit alongside each other. Here, they seem to blend into each other. The transitions are seamless. There's also this subtle, almost creamy quality in the heart, a softness that wraps around the florals and earthiness and makes the whole thing incredibly wearable. I wore this on a cool autumn evening, and in that heart phase, I kept catching it on my wrist and thinking, yes. That's it. That's exactly right. And here's the part one mentioned at the beginning. The thing about the dry down that almost nobody talks about. After 3, 4 hours, when the blackcurrant has long faded and the rose has settled into something quieter, what you're left with is one of the most beautiful woody musks I've smelled on a mainstream feminine fragrance. The patchouli is there, but it's been warmed, rounded, almost vanillic without being sweet. There's a depth here that genuinely surprises you. Because if you only ever smelled the opening, you might think, fine, nice fruit, nice flower, pleasant enough. But the dry down is where Sì Parfum shows its character. It becomes almost skin-like. Intimate. Like a second skin rather than a fragrance sitting on top of you. It pulls close to the body, trails in the warmth of your neck, your wrists. It stops projecting loudly and starts whispering. And honestly? That whisper is more seductive than the opening shout. The dry down on this is the reason to buy it. I'll be very direct about that. Right. The practical stuff. And I'm going to be straight with you, because this matters at this price point. On skin, you're looking at 8 to 10 hours of genuine presence. That's very respectable, especially given that the parfum concentration is designed to release more slowly, more consistently than lighter concentrations. In the first 2 hours, Sillage is solid, you'll leave a trail. You'll notice people notice. After that, it becomes more of a close sillage, you'll smell it on yourself, people next to you will catch it, but it's not filling a room. On clothes, the story changes dramatically. Spray this on a coat, a scarf, a cashmere jumper, and you'll be getting well into the next day from a single application. I sprayed this on a scarf on a Thursday evening and I could still smell it clearly on Saturday morning. For longevity purposes, clothing is where this fragrance genuinely delivers. Best time to wear it? Evening, without question. Late afternoon into night. The cooler temperatures amplify that dry down warmth beautifully. In summer heat it can become a touch overwhelming. This is a fragrance for cooler months, for autumn, for winter nights. Let me paint you a picture. If you're the type of person who dresses with intention, who buys fewer things but buys better things, this fragrance aligns with your philosophy. It's for the woman who walks into a restaurant and doesn't need to announce herself, but everyone notices anyway. It's a fragrance for that person. If you're the type who loves the original Sì but feels it's a little too easy, a little too safe, this is the version that takes that same DNA and adds dimension, shadow, maturity. It rewards people who lean in to smell it. And if you're a man who appreciates rich, oriental-leaning fragrances, I said unisex at the top of this video and I meant it. On the right skin, on the right person, this reads as elegant and confident rather than overtly feminine. Don't let the marketing limit your thinking. Now, who should not wear this? If you're after something light, fresh, effortless. If you gravitate towards citrus, clean aquatics, or green fragrances. If you want something that works in a gym or at a summer barbecue, this is not your fragrance. This is a serious scent. It has weight. And if you're not ready for weight, it will weigh you rather than the other way around. So, £104 for 50 millilitres. That's £2.08 per milliliter. Is that fair? Here's how I think about it. You are paying partly for the liquid, yes, and the parfum concentration means there's more fragrant material in every milliliter than in a standard EDP. That costs more to produce. But you are also paying for the Armani name, the bottle, the heritage, the positioning. That's just honest. If pure value for money is your priority, there are alternatives. I'd point you toward Lancôme La Vie Estate Belle Intensement, which shares some of that gourmand oriental warmth and sits at a lower price point. It's not the same fragrance, but if you're scratching a similar itch on a tighter budget, that's worth exploring. But if you want this, specifically this, then £104 is the price. And at 8 to 10 hours of wear, with the longevity on clothes being exceptional, the cost per wear over the lifetime of a bottle is genuinely reasonable. You're not spraying 6 times a day. 2 or 3 controlled sprays is all you need. I'd give Sì Parfum an 8.5 out of 10. The half point it loses is for versatility. This is not an all-rounder, and the price demands more occasions than it can serve. But for what it does almost perfectly. If you want to pick this up, p-11.com has the 50 ml listed and the link is in the description. I found them reliable and their pricing on Armani is competitive. Giorgio Armani Sì Parfum is the version of this fragrance that the original always had the potential to become: richer, darker, more emotionally resonant, with a dry down that is quietly, genuinely extraordinary. It's not for everyone, and it's not trying to be. Now here's what I want to know from you. If you already own Sì Parfum, tell me in the comments, did that dry down justify the price tag for you, or did you end up going back to the regular EDP and saving yourself 40 quid? I'm genuinely curious. If honest, no-nonsense fragrance reviews are what you're after, subscribe. I post every single week and I never just tell you what you want to hear.